Hey, I'm Matt at Mr. Maple, and welcome to the Mr. Maple Show.
Hi, and I'm Tim, and we greatly appreciate you watching this video. We're going to be doing a lot of series of these on very interesting questions that we always get at Mr. Maple, so we can answer these questions directly to you. Please like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and sign up for our weekly emails on MrMaple.com. We'll add 10 fun, new, and exciting trees every Tuesday at 10 a.m., so you'll definitely want to check that out.
So today's quick question is, when should I fertilize my Japanese maple? Tim, you want to start out with that? When's the best time to fertilize a Japanese maple?
When you fertilize a Japanese maple, you have to think about, do I want this plant to grow right now? Well, what's happening during the winter, Matt?
You want everything to shut down and stay as dormant as possible. So during that time frame, activating your tree could actually cause more issues.
Yeah, so the best time to fertilize is in the early spring as the plant's already beginning to leaf out. And then we typically stop fertilizing about
mid to late March. We typically cut any of our fertilizing off by May. That's our overall cutoff. We're typically done here by March, but you can fertilize Japanese maples up until the end of May. The reason we recommend stopping at May is because a lot of those fertilizers we use will have a 180-day release. So you might be keeping your tree too active going into those fall months. So be conscious of the release of your fertilizer and how long that release is actually scheduled for.
So on your fertilizer that you purchase, it'll actually say on the bag, this is a 180-day release. This is an immediate release. This is a 300-day release.
Yeah.
Well, obviously on a Japanese maple, you'll want to put something out that will shut down by around that June 1st time. It'll already dropped off all of its fertilizer. That way, the plant is going to be shutting down going into the winter.
Yeah, a lot of people will say, I like putting out this fertilizer in November, and you'll look and a lot of those nitrogen numbers will be pretty high. And you'll actually be activating that plant. We're here in zone 6B in western North Carolina, so a good example for a mid to milder zone, not too cold but not too warm. And what we like is our trees to shut down completely. We get better winterization, better durability on our Japanese maples if we're not over pushing them with fertilizer, one, but also not keeping them active in those winter months. So we want our Japanese maple, we want that fertilizer on the Japanese maple to be completely done typically by November. That's our goal. In mid to late November, it's not uncommon for us to be in the 20s here, and I've already had a little bit of snow. So that active new growth can get burned back quite a bit.
And so you really want to avoid fertilizing plants going into the fall and getting them too active. One, you'll get a horrible fall color. Your fall color won't be nearly as good because there'll be too much chlorophyll in the leaves as that cold is coming in. Two, your plant's going to be too active and you may get some freeze damage. You may be inviting diseases like Pseudomonas and Verticillium into your plant by fertilizing going too much into the winter. And so by fertilizing in the early spring, you're really going to get the most out of the 2 flushes of growth. Most Japanese maples will get 2 flushes of growth during the season, once during the early spring and once again during the summer. And if you put something in fertilizer in the spring when it's first coming out, you're really going to get a good amount of growth on that first flush of growth. And especially if it's a 180-day release or something like that, going in, you'll get enough fertilizer going into that second flush of growth as well. And so we really recommend making sure that you stop all fertilizer as it's getting closer towards the fall. And some of y'all may have earlier winter months, and that fertilizer date may be shorter for you.
It can change a little bit depending on where you're at. I mean, somewhere like Texas, you're going to get 10 months of growth a year almost there. Somewhere like here, we have a distinctive winter, and so we like our trees to be well shut down before November. And we could get a 6-foot tall tree in a season, but it wouldn't be a tree that you'd want particularly for especially a colder zone. Those cell walls are going to be too stretched, too thin, and you're going to get a poorer quality Japanese maple if it's grown at too fast of a rate. So by cutting that off, we recommend no later than May. That's what we do here at our nursery. We're typically done with all of our fertilizing in March, but May is the absolute cutoff that no new granulated fertilizers go out. Liquid fertilizers give you a little bit of wiggle room. You got to be careful with liquid fertilizers because they activate quicker, but they also go away quicker. So those can give a good pickup late in the season for a Japanese maple that may need a little bit of energy, but you don't want to be putting out granulated fertilizers late into the season.
Yeah, definitely. And watch a lot of your fertilizers you're putting out. Every fertilizer is different. We typically use something like a 10-10-10 that works very, very well because it's not very high in nitrogen, so it's not stretching those cell walls too much, but it is also giving plenty of fertilizer for those plants. We often will see some fertilizers being sold out there that are labeled for Japanese maple fertilizer, and there's so little nutrients and nitrogen in there that your plant really doesn't get a whole lot of growth
it's
from it
not
in the
doing
first
too
place.
much.
And so you're often paying more because it's labeled for Japanese maples, but at the same time you're not getting the full effect that you really should be getting, like that 10-10-10, which is much cheaper, would provide.
What we typically recommend is a 15 or lower on that nitrogen. We have a full video on fertilizing Japanese maples. Definitely check that out. It's a little bit more of a deep dive, but we want to do this quick look to talk to you a little bit about when to fertilize Japanese maples. I think it's a common question and one of the more easy mistakes to make, especially for new gardeners.
Yeah, everyone always wants to, when they plant their Japanese maples, they want to fertilize them. And it may not be the right time of the year to do that. And so we just wanted to do this video so you'd understand the best times to do that. Again, the best times to do that, early spring as they're beginning to leaf out. And here where we're at in Western North Carolina, we cut all that off by the end of May.
And one more thing to be conscious of too, if you bought your Japanese maple from us, and it could be from anywhere, but be conscious of when it was last fertilized at that nursery. If you bought a Japanese maple from us, it typically won't need anything else that season. If it's arriving the season, that first season you got it from us, it's probably gonna have everything it needs for a full year. And so you may not even wanna think about fertilizing until the next year. If you're going and fertilizing again when you plant, you may just be doing some redundancy there or fertilizing too late. So I recommend asking the nursery you purchased the tree from, and hopefully you'll shop with Mr. Maple, but I recommend asking the nursery that you purchased the tree from when it was last fertilized. That's great information. It helps you better understand what kind of fertilization schedule you should be on. As a rule of thumb, if you don't know, wait a season. That's a better way to gauge what's going on. With any of our trees, you definitely want to wait a season because they've already gotten some fertilizer and some good fertilizer that season.
We greatly appreciate you taking time to watch this video. Please like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and as always, sign up for our weekly emails on MrMaple.com. We had 10 new exciting trees every Tuesday at 10 a.m. And the best way to support this YouTube channel and all the information that you're getting from this is by shopping on MrMaple.com.
Yeah, we're trying to do a lot more here and a lot more effort into this channel. We've been expanding a lot of what we do and getting more content out. So we greatly appreciate you. If you'd like to say thanks or if you're enjoying our content, definitely share it with your gardening friends. That's the best way for our content to get out there. It's certainly how our nursery has grown, is from word of mouth. So we ask that you, if you're getting something from this, share it with someone who would also enjoy it, or someone who may make the same gardening mistakes, especially with these tips videos. It's a great way to help new gardeners, and we hope you enjoyed this. God bless.
And have a great day.
All you have to do to get involved in the giveaway is like, subscribe, and share our video. Then under every single video you want, you can go and comment, "I dig Mr. Maple." And every single time you comment, you'll be entered to win a Mr. Maple hat. So we're going to be doing a giveaway for one of these hats. We're coming up on 8,000 subscribers. Get involved.